The great city of Solace stood quiet under the twin suns of Terra 9. Once a symbol of unity, it now wore a new face, watchful, alert, cold. Flags of a unified human coalition fluttered in the wind, but no celebration filled the air. The people knew what was coming. The silence had begun. Commander Elian Cross stood at the edge of the High Command Tower, looking out over the massive city below. His uniform was spotless, his face calm, but his eyes held the weight of too many broken promises. Behind him, a giant screen blinked to life. The Galactic Concorde had arrived for one last call. A blue hologram shimmered in the air. Dozens of alien leaders filled the display, scaled, furred, feathered, and some not shaped like any creature on Earth. At the center was High Chancellor Viral of the Varn Dominion. His voice was smooth, too smooth, like poison hidden in honey. Elian Cross. The humans do not answer our messages. The council grows uneasy. We must continue talks. Elian didn't blink. His voice came steady, strong. There will be no more talks. Gasps echoed through the channel. Some aliens raised their voices. Others hissed or clicked in confusion. Viral's expression twisted. You would isolate yourselves? Turn your backs on the Concorde? On peace. There is no peace, Elian replied. Only a pause between betrayals. He stepped forward, close to the camera, so they could see his eyes. We offered trust. You returned it with lies. We offered friendship. You gave us dead soldiers. Enough. Viral narrowed his eyes. If humanity walks away, you may not be welcomed back. Elian gave a thin, bitter smile. We are not leaving. We are standing alone. With a nod, he signaled his aide. The transmission ended. The screen went dark. In that moment, across the stars, a silence spread louder than any weapon. The galaxy had relied on human diplomacy. Now that force was gone. Elian turned to his command staff. Begin Operation Hollow Shield. Admiral Ryland, a tall man with a lined face and eyes like steel, nodded. All colonies will be notified. All borders reinforced. The blackout begins now. Elian walked slowly to a wall where the names of fallen ambassadors were engraved in silver. He placed a hand over the name of Ambassador Sarah Lynn, the first to die when the Varn broke a ceasefire. He remembered her message before the mission. They say they want peace, Elian. I want to believe it. But if they lie, you know what to do. He had done it. Back in the city below, civilians watched the skies. News spread fast. Earth had cut ties. Some cheered. Others wept. But all understood. Something was changing. Across the galaxy, fear took root. Leaders met in secret. Military stations ran silent drills. Children on alien worlds asked their parents, why did the humans stop talking? And no one could answer. Humanity, once a voice of reason in the stars, had fallen quiet. The silence was not peace. It was a warning. The silence didn't stay on Terra 9. It spread outward, like a ripple across a still pond. Within hours of the final transmission, the unified human coalition had shut down all diplomatic channels. Embassies on alien worlds were emptied. Human ships vanished from neutral zones. The beacon lights that marked safe passage through human space turned red. The Galactic Concorde didn't know what to make of it. On the core world of Elian Prime, home to the Concorde's Central Council, chaos unfolded behind closed doors. Inside a vast chamber lit by shifting blue light, dozens of species argued. Their voices clashed, buzzing, rumbling, whispering, shrieking. High Chancellor Viral stood at the center, calm but tight-jawed. His long fingers tapped against the stone table as lesser officials shouted theories. The humans are planning war. They have withdrawn before. They will return. They destroyed no ships. Perhaps they mean only to defend. They are unpredictable. We must strike before they do. Viral raised one hand. The room fell into a tense hush. Humanity is not to be underestimated, he said. They were once weak, but they learned quickly, and they never forget a betrayal. He paused, looking around at the gathered leaders. We thought they needed us. We were wrong. Now they prepare for what we do not know. But it is our duty to be ready. Far away, on the Varn homeworld, Viral met privately with his top commanders. He viewed Earth's silence as the start of a power shift. For years, the Varn had tried to push humanity back into a place of dependence. Failed deals, trade restrictions, staged border incidents. It was meant to keep humans humble. It had only made them stronger. They did not respond with anger, Viral said. They responded with silence. That is far more dangerous. Meanwhile, on Terra 9, Ellie and Cross stood in a dim war room beneath the capital. A massive holographic map hovered above the table, displaying the known galaxy. Red marks glowed at every human colony, trade post, and defense station. All operations in motion, reported Admiral Ryland. We've locked down the old diplomatic nodes. Embassies are evacuating. Spies have been recalled. And the stealth fleet? Elian asked. Phase 1 construction complete. Phase 2 begins next week. Stealth dreadnoughts will be ready in 7 months. Elian studied the map. He saw not stars, but doors. Some would need to be locked. Others might need to be broken. We don't attack first, he said. But if they come for us, they'll find we are not the same humans they remember. Rylan nodded. And the colonies? They're afraid, Elian said. But they trust us. They've seen what trust in others has cost. Across the colonies, the message was clear. Prepare. Defend. Stay silent. Civilians practiced emergency drills. Mining fleets rerouted away from Concord space. Military factories switched from transport vessels to advanced weapon systems. Alien intelligence agencies scrambled to learn more. But every probe sent into human space disappeared. Every spy went dark. The human coalition had built a wall of silence, and no one could see past it. On a far-off moon near the Varn border, a small Concord patrol encountered an unmanned human scout vessel. The ship had no weapons, no crew, only a message in plain galactic common. Do not follow. Do not trespass. We have nothing to say. The patrol let the ship pass. On a distant planet, a young alien child watched the news and asked her father, "Will the humans come back?" He hesitated, then said softly, "I don't think they're coming back the way we remember." Back on Terra 9, Elian stood on a balcony above the city as night fell. Below, lights glowed from buildings, ships, and watchtowers. The sky was clear, stars sharp and silent. He remembered being a boy, watching human diplomats speak proudly at Concord events, believing peace was humanity's greatest strength. Now he knew better. Peace only lasts if both sides want it. The galaxy had spoken. So had humanity, with silence. The border between human space and the Varn Dominion had always been tense. Patrols watched each other from a distance. Trade convoys passed under escort. But since humanity's withdrawal from the Galactic Concord, that tension had grown heavier, like a wire stretched too tight. No one crossed the line, until one day someone did. It started with a routine patrol. The UHC Sentinel, a small human scout vessel, was surveying an asteroid field near the neutral zone. Its mission was simple: scan for anomalies and report any unusual activity. The pilot, Lieutenant Kira Mendez, followed standard protocol. She moved carefully, engines low, sensors high. The field was quiet. Then a strange pulse struck the ship. Power flickered. The Sentinel jolted, warning lights flaring to life. Before Kira could respond, a fleet of Varn drones uncloaked around her. Small, sleek, armed with ion disruptors. No warnings. No communications. They fired. Kira's training kicked in. She pulled the Sentinel into a spiral, evading the first wave. The ship's shield strained under the blasts. Smoke filled the cockpit. With no weapon strong enough to fight back, she sent a distress signal and jumped to emergency warp. The ship vanished into a blue ripple of light, damaged but alive. She barely made it back to Terra 9. When the report reached Commander Elian Cross, he read it in silence. Then he read it again. They attacked without warning? Admiral Ryland asked, standing beside him in the command center. No warning. No demand. Just attack, Elian said. They thought we wouldn't respond. They think we're still trying to avoid war. Ryland looked grim. What do we do? Elian walked to the center of the room. All eyes turned to him. He pressed a button on the console, bringing up a map of the Varn border. He pointed to the last known location of the Varn drones. We hit back, he said, but not with words. A day later, 3 human ships left Terra 9, silent, fast, and armed. Their mission was clear: disable the drones, send a message, cause no deaths. They arrived without being seen. The first Varn drone went offline in seconds. The others tried to flee. The human ships disabled them one by one with precision pulse cannons. Non-lethal, focused, deliberate. The drones dropped into the asteroid field like broken toys. Human ships returned without a scratch. No words were spoken. No demand were made. But the message echoed across the stars. We are not running. We are watching. And we will respond. Across alien systems, the footage of the disabled Varn drones spread fast. Concord leaders called for calm. Analysts debated humanity's tactics. They didn't destroy, one said. They restrained themselves. Yes, another replied, which is what makes it worse. In the Varn Dominion, High Chancellor Viral paced in his private chamber. The attack had been unauthorized by him, ordered by a field commander hoping to provoke a human response. That commander had now gone silent. Viral's advisors urged caution, but he knew the truth. Humans had changed. They didn't bluff anymore. Back on Terra 9, protests had broken out in some cities. A group of citizens gathered outside the Capitol Tower, demanding answers. "Will there be war?" someone shouted. Elian addressed the crowd from a balcony. "There is no war," he said. "There is only strength. We will not strike first, but we will never kneel again. That is the path we walk now." The crowd fell quiet. In private meetings, Elian faced new tension. Not all of Earth's leaders supported his choices. Some believed in a return to diplomacy. Others feared escalation. "You're making us a threat," said Counselor Mira Voss, an influential voice from the Mars colony. "No," Elian replied calmly. "I'm making us a people they won't dare threaten again." He left the room with no further argument. As night fell on Terra 9, lights from orbiting ships sparkled in the sky. Families prepared for the unknown. Soldiers trained harder. Engineers built faster. No one knew what the next day would bring, but they knew this. The silence was holding, but had teeth now. Commander Elian Cross stood in the Hall of Memory, deep below the surface of Terra 9. The walls were lined with holographic images of past diplomats, men and women who had given their lives believing in peace among the stars. The room was quiet, lit by soft blue lights that shimmered like water. This was where humanity honored the fallen and remembered the cost of hope. Elian stopped at the image of Ambassador Sarah Lynn. Her face was kind, her smile warm, frozen in time. She had been one of the first to believe the Concord could work. She had been the first to die when a Varn broke the ceasefire 6 years ago. A voice broke the silence. "You still come here." Elian turned. Admiral Ryland stood in the doorway, his face tense. "She reminds me of who I used to be," Elian said softly. "Someone who believed peace could hold." "There's news," Ryland said, "from the outer colonies. A Varn fleet has been spotted near the edge of Epsilon Reach. Too close." Elian's expression hardened. "They're testing us again." Ryland nodded. "And that's not all. Counselor Voss has called for a vote. Some want to reopen communication with the Concord. They say you're leading us to war." Elian sighed. "They still don't understand. We gave the galaxy our hand. They bid it. Now we protect ourselves." Later that day, Elian entered the Grand Assembly Chamber on Terra 9. Dozens of leaders from Earth, Mars, Europa, Titan, and beyond were seated, all connected through live holostreams. Counselor Mira Voss stood at the center, speaking with calm authority. "Elian Cross is a soldier. He sees threats, but we are more than warriors. The galaxy needs diplomacy. Fear is not respect." Elian stepped forward when she finished. "I was a diplomat once," he said. "I stood on alien worlds and promised peace. I watched those promises burn. Now I stand here, not because I want war, but because I refuse to let our people be used again." He paused, scanning the room. "Peace built on silence is not peace. It is surrender. We will not surrender." The vote was split. Narrowly, Elian held his command, but the debate had stirred doubt. The silence was cracking from within. Meanwhile, far from Terra 9, on the Varn homeworld of Irithkal, High Chancellor Viral met with his inner circle. The failed drone attack, the disabled ships, the human silence. It had rattled even the most loyal Varn commanders. "We must act," said General Sorvak. "Strike before they build further." Viral raised a hand. "No, a full assault would unite them. We must make them return to the table. Break their leader, and the rest will follow." He revealed a secret plan, a coordinated strike on Terra 9 itself. Not an invasion, not war, just a surgical assassination attempt. Take out Commander Cross, cause panic, force humanity back to the Concord. The plan was bold, risky, and already underway. But not everyone agreed. Commander Tazel, a Varn strategist, stepped away from the council and secretly contacted an old friend, an alien intelligence broker known only as Ashari. Tazel had studied humanity. He knew killing their leader wouldn't stop them. It would awaken something far worse. Through secret channels, Ashari passed a message to Terra 9. It was short, simple, but it changed everything. They are coming for him. Soon. Back on Terra 9, Elian read the message in silence. His jaw tightened. The warning had no proof, but something in his gut told him it was real. He turned to Ryland. "We prepare for contact. No alarms. No panique. Just readiness." Ryland gave a tight nod. "We'll be ready." Elian returned to his quarters that night and looked out at the stars. He remembered the first time he left Earth, years ago, full of hope. He had seen alien worlds, made friends among them, believed in something greater. Now he saw shadows, ghosts of peace. The galaxy had chosen its path, and humanity was learning to walk a new one. The night sky above Terra 9 shimmered with stars, calm and beautiful. But beneath the surface, the capital city of Solace was ready for war. Though the alarms were silent and the news channels remained quiet, every security post was armed, every sensor active. The warning from the anonymous source had not been ignored. Commander Elian Cross was not a man who waited to be struck. He prepared. In the heart of the Capitol Tower, he sat at a reinforced command table surrounded by his most trusted advisors. A projection of Terra 9 rotated slowly above the table. Small red markers blinked. Unusual ship signatures detected near the outer edge of the atmosphere. "Stealth class approach," said Admiral Ryland, eyes scanning data. "They're not broadcasting. No official channel. They're trying to slip in." Elian nodded. "Assassins. We should strike first," Ryland said. "No, Elian replied. We let them land. We let them try." Ryland raised a brow. "We're setting a trap?" Elian's voice was calm. "We're sending a message." At 0200 hours, the first of the Varn infiltration pods entered the lower atmosphere. Fast, small, barely detectable. They moved like shadows, guided by cloaking technology and deep intel stolen months earlier. They believed they were unnoticed. They were wrong. Human interceptor drones trailed the pods from orbit, silent and hidden. As the Varn assassins landed near the Capitol Tower, tactical teams already waited nearby. The tower itself went into lockdown, not from panic but from precision. Lights dimmed, security doors sealed. The building became a fortress. Inside, Elian waited. He stood in the Hall of Unity, once a place for greeting foreign envoys. Now it served as a quiet stage for confrontation. Armed guards stood in the shadows. Elian guardo armer. He stood exposed, a deliberate choice. The Varn assassins moved fast. 6 of them, built like blades, silent as death. But as soon as they entered the hall, the floor beneath them lit with a cold blue glow. Sensors triggered. Walls closed. Traps sprung. Stun fields locked them in place before they could raise a weapon. Seconds later, human soldiers swept in, weapons raised. The entire strike team was captured alive. Elian stepped forward. One of the Varn, barely conscious, looked up at him through narrowed eyes. "You should have come to the table," the assassin hissed. "We built the table," Elian replied, "and watched you set it on fire." The captives were taken to a secure facility. No torture, no grand speech, just silence. A silence that carried a different kind of weight. That same morning, Elian stood before the Galactic Concord's former transmission channel and sent a single message. It was short. It reached every known government in the galaxy. "We have captured those sent to kill us. We will not retaliate. We do not seek your apologies. But know this, if a hand is raised against us again, it will not rise a second time. We are not afraid. We are not asking. We are done asking. The message caused panic. Across alien worlds, governments held emergency meetings. The Concord Council, though weakened, begged for calm. Some leaders denounced the assassination attempt. Others said nothing. But all of them felt the same thing. Fear. Humanity had changed. They had been wounded, pushed, betrayed. And now, in silence and discipline, they responded with strength. Not by war, but by control. Their message was clear. Humanity did not need permission to defend itself. High Chancellor Viral watched the footage from his private chamber on Virithkal. His plan had failed. His agents were captured. And now, the galaxy was watching, not with anger at humanity, but with dread of what might come next. He turned to his advisors. We must prepare for what comes next. The humans have made their choice. Now the balance shifts. Back on Terra 9, the capital tower returned to normal function. Lights restored. Halls reopened. To the public, it was as if nothing had happened. But within the coalition, everything had changed. Elian met with Ryland on the balcony overlooking the city. No injuries. No blood, Ryland said. You planned this perfectly. No, Elian said. I planned it clearly. That's all they needed. Do you think they'll try again? Elian's gaze lifted to the stars. They won't need to. The galaxy now understands. We will not beg for peace. We will be left alone, or we will defend ourselves without hesitation. He turned to Ryland. From this point on, we speak not with words, but with action. Far above, new ships drifted from dry dock, dark, sleek, and armed. Humanity had not declared war. They had declared readiness. The attack on Commander Elian Cross had changed everything. The galaxy watched the response with wide, uneasy eyes. No missiles had been launched. No cities burned. No armies marched. But somehow, the silence that followed was more terrifying than any declaration of war. Humanity had spoken once and then gone quiet again. That silence spread like smoke. In the outer sectors of alien space, trade routes that passed near human borders were abandoned. Cargo ships rerouted through longer, more costly paths. Colonies near the edge of human territory began fortifying, unsure of what might come next. And then the dreadnoughts appeared. Massive human ships, cloaked until the final moment, emerged above 3 strategic alien planets in the Concord core. Each vessel hovered silently over government centers, weapon systems powered and aimed, but they did not fire. They didn't need to. The message was clear. We can reach you. We can stop you. But we choose not to this time. The dreadnought stayed for exactly 1 hour. Then they vanished into warp space without a trace. Panic followed. Governments held emergency sessions. The media flooded networks with theories and warnings. Some accused humans of preparing for conquest. Others begged for renewed talks. But no answer came. On Terra 9, Elian Cross stood aboard the command bridge of the first completed stealth dreadnought, the Solace. The ship was a ghost in space, impossible to track, armed with next-generation tech built in secret. It was not made to conquer. It was made to end wars before they began. Admiral Ryland walked beside him, reading a data slate. Viral has sent another message, Ryland said. He wants to reopen communications. Elian stared out the viewport. Delete it, he said. Ryland hesitated. There's a growing movement on Europa, civilians demanding peace talks. Some leaders are starting to feel the pressure. Elian turned slowly. We are not the threat, Ryland. We are the consequence. The galaxy raised a hand to us too many times. We stopped asking for peace. Now they fear what we'll do. That's balance. Let them feel it. Far across the stars, High Chancellor Viral sat alone in his war chamber, staring at the empty communication terminal. Behind him, his advisors argued, shouting blame and fear. He no longer listened. He had made a mistake. He had tried to control a species that could no longer be controlled. The humans had once been weak, yes, but they had learned, adapted, and now they play by their own rules. He whispered to himself. We should have listened when they still spoke. In secret, minor alien worlds began sending quiet signals toward Terra 9. Not demands, not threats, just messages of neutrality, even friendship. Some wanted protection. Others simply wanted to be left alone. Elian responded to none of them. But he read every single one. He knew what was coming. The Concord would not survive this fracture. Alliances would break. Old enemies would grow desperate. But humanity would remain still, watching, waiting. Let others burn their bridges. They had already crossed theirs. That night on Terra 9, a quiet ceremony was held on the edge of the capital. A new monument was unveiled, a ring of broken flags from alien nations that had betrayed Earth during the last great peace talks. In the center stood a single figure carved in steel. Neither soldier nor diplomat, but a human with their back turned to the galaxy, walking into the future. A plaque beneath it read, "We asked. We waited. Now we walk alone." Citizens of Terra 9 stood in silence, candles in hand, watching the stars above. Parents held children. Veterans stood straight and still. There were no songs, no speeches, just silence. And above them, fleets moved through orbit like shadows. Calm, ready, watching. The galaxy, once confident in its dominance, now whispered in fear. They had forgotten what humanity could become when pushed too far. Now they remembered. The galaxy was quiet, not peaceful, never peaceful, but still. Ships slowed at the edge of human borders. Channels once filled with Concord messages had gone dark. The old systems of diplomacy and trade were frozen in fear, like animals waiting for a storm to pass. But the storm never came. Humanity didn't strike. They didn't invade. They didn't speak. They simply watched. From Terra 9 to the edge of known space, the unified human coalition moved with purpose and silence. New orbital stations powered up over distant colonies. Patrol ships wove unseen paths through asteroid fields. Stealth dreadnoughts disappeared into the void, their presence known only by the absence of threat in the places they watched. In the Concord's central hall on Elian Prime, only a handful of representatives remained. Many seats were empty, some abandoned in panic, others in shame. The great dream of galactic unity had fallen apart not with war, but with silence. High Chancellor Viral arrived late to the chamber, worn and thinner than before. His once commanding voice was quieter now, thoughtful. "The humans have not attacked," he said aloud to the room. "They have not destroyed. But we are afraid. And we should be." No one interrupted him. "They do not seek war," Viral continued. "They seek freedom. We took that from them. Now they have taken it back." The council did not vote. It did not debate. It simply ended. The Concord faded, a name remembered only in records and monuments. But not all was lost. On small alien worlds, those once ignored by the Concord, those exploited by richer planets, something new was happening. Quiet messages reached Terra 9. Some were requests for trade, others for protection, and a few were just simple greetings. Elian Cross read them all. In a secure meeting room on Terra 9, Elian sat with his top advisors. Around them, live feeds showed human ships forming a protective net around their systems, not to trap others, but to guard what was theirs. Admiral Ryland leaned forward, tapping his star chart. "These smaller worlds," he said, "they want to align with us. Not join a Concord, not bow to a council. Just stand beside us." Elian nodded. "They've seen how we respond. We don't conquer. We defend. That is our new order. Strength with restraint." Ryland smiled faintly. "Strange how fear has turned into respect." "Not strange," Elian replied. "Expected. We didn't become monsters. We became what they pretended to be." Across human space, change moved quickly. Old diplomats returned, not to beg, but to listen. Soldiers were not disarmed, but repurposed, guardians rather than attackers. Engineers worked with new urgency, building not just warships, but exploration vessels, research stations, and independent colonies. Humanity had no capital beyond Terra 9 now. No emperor, no throne. Just leadership born from experience, guided by the memory of betrayal. Elian Cross led, but he did not rule. His strength came from the people, unified, determined, watchful. In orbit, the Solace, the first stealth dreadnought, hung like a shadow against the stars. Its engines were silent, its weapons offline. It was no longer needed as a threat. It had done its job. Elian stood on the viewing deck, hands clasped behind his back, staring at the stars. Ryland joined him, quiet for a long time. "It's over," Ryland said. "No," Elian replied. "It's begun." Ryland raised an eyebrow. "What do we call it now?" "This era." Elian turned toward him. "We don't name it. We live it. Let the galaxy decide what we are." On distant worlds, alien children no longer asked if humans would return. Now they asked what it meant when a ship hovered over their skies and did nothing. They learned. It meant they were being watched. Not controlled, not punished. Watched in case harm ever came again. The symbol of humanity's silence had become something greater. It had become balance. 1 week later, a new monument was raised beside the old Concord Embassy ruins on Terra 9. A single block of dark stone with no inscription. Just a hand, carved from steel, resting open. Not reaching, not clenched. Waiting. Below it, a line of text appeared in all known languages. We asked. We waited. We walked away. Now we watch. The people gathered in silence to see it. No applause. No music. Just the weight of truth. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. It had simply stopped bowing to it.